Hey guys, WhipChip here with a brand new video, and in today's video I'll be showing you guys my custom LEGO Ninjago Dragons Rising minifigure series. Now this series is solely based off of Season 2, Part 1, so if you haven't seen that yet, there will be tons of spoilers in this video, so I suggest you go out and watch it first, because actually, this season was really good. But with that out of the way, let's take a look at the first minifigure. Alright, so the first minifigure we're going to take a look at is Mr. Frohickey. Now I put off making this guy for a really long time, mostly because I could not figure out how to make his head. Thankfully, I have a friend that's really good in ceramics, and she was able to sculpt me this head by hand, and I just think it looks really good. I painted it, and I had actually a lot of leftover paint, which led to his accessory of his little plush toy, which of course is just one of those like bear pieces with like the ear shaved off. I think that looks really good. But this minifigure itself turned out great. I used just one of those classic minifigure scarves, as well as a printed torso I got off of a user on Mechabricks. So yeah, on to the next minifigure. The next minifigure is Cinder. Now this guy is really cool to me, mostly because of that shatter spin armor. Now this armor is 3 separate armor pieces all hot glued together. Now I did take footage for that entire process, so if you guys are interested, make sure you comment it. I have all the footage, just haven't edited it into a video. As for his face, I painted the sides of it gray to more match his on-screen appearance, as well as his eyes red, of course, when he powers up with the shatter spin armor. And as an accessory, I gave him these clear ice pieces, which are actually from Frozone from the Disney CMF2. I think they work really well for his smoke, and yeah, on to the next minifigure. Here is Bonsel. Now this is honestly one of my favorite custom minifigures I've ever done. It's also one of the most intense custom minifigures I've ever done. Like seriously, this is up in the leagues with Energy, Nya, and of course Geo. Now this character, one of the hardest parts about making her was that jacket. Now as you guys can see, minifigures have like these tubes and stuff running all throughout their torso, but keychain minifigures do not. So once you remove the keyring off of a minifigure, or keychain minifigure, you can see that there's nothing on the inside of the torso. It's all hollow. So what I did is I took a knife and I just carved right through it to make that split open jacket that she has going on in the show. Then I put it over the Skullkin body, which of course I did have to like shave off the arms so the body would fit over, and then I just put the arms back on with a little bit of putty, as you can see. As for her face, I did have to paint all that on. It was really hard to do because the molding of the actual Skullkin head has like an angry eyes like default setting, so I tried to smooth that out to make her big like round ball eyes that she has in the show. And then of course her hat is just like this like a putty hat that I made for her. As an accessory, I gave her little puppet woo, which she used to tell her story, as well as her and her spell form. Like seriously, this is one of my favorite minifigures I have ever made, and might be my favorite minifigure of the series, but you'll just have to see and judge that for yourself with the next minifigure, which is Candaleria. Now, this is such a cool minifigure to me. I hate her design in the show, because I knew when I saw it, I was like, oh, I gotta make that. And honestly, I think I did a pretty good job. So you can see, as an accessory, I gave her crystal ball, which of course she used to like defend herself against the administration. Now, as for the rest of the minifigure, oh my gosh, this was such a difficult minifigure to make. Obviously, you can see that the torso like looks pretty good. I ended up going into a Photoshop editor and like tracing over like this photo I got from her, and honestly, I think it turned out great. Now, the hardest part about it was I just could not figure out a way to color match like the color of the spray painted torso with that, because like normally I just print off like the full torso, like obviously you can see with Mr. Frohickey right here. I just printed off the torso and stuck it on, but this one I just like I couldn't get the color right. So what I ended up doing is just cutting out the outline of the torso, and I think it turned out really good. Now, as you can see, I did also paint her hair, which is from this like a Marvel set. I don't know the character's name, but again, I think that turned out great. I did also give her 2 faces. This is the one that I think just suits her a little bit better. I did end up painting that glasses by mixing water with green paint to give it that like still transparent look without fully like, you know, making it green. And then her hat is actually this hair hat combo piece. I removed the hat, I mean not the hat, the hair, and then stuck it on her hair, and I just think it turned out really good. Of course, you can remove the hat and have her ride it like in the show Hattie or whatever, but yeah, honestly, this is one of my favorite minifigures I have ever made, and I'm really happy I have her. But yeah, on to the next character. Of course, the next character being Raz. Now this is the variant of him when the Blood Moon came out and all of his tattoos turned red. As an accessory, I gave him the Gong of Shattering as well as the hammer that he uses to hit it. I painted all of those little like triangle details just because I think it was like kind of an important thing because of course it was in the intro. And I mean, come on, that looks so cool when he's hitting the gong with that improved mallet. I did also paint the teeth, and yeah, on to the next character. The next minifigure, of course, being Not, the one Raz freed from Nether Space. Now, this guy is super cool, and it just blows my mind we don't get him in any sets, especially how, like, important of a character he is, but whatever, maybe we'll get him later down the road. As an accessory, I gave him this red katana, and for the minifigure himself, I got all of these prints from this user on Mechabricks. This guy is amazing, and I get a ton of my work from him, so go check him out, it's really cool. Now, I did end up also using the face from that print, too, and I usually don't do that just because I know most of the time they look really weird. But he has got such a unique face, and I just really had to use it here. I tried to like paint the same color blue around the entire head, so that way it looked like it all meshed together, and I think it turned out pretty good. But yeah, on to the next minifigure. Here we have Wildfire in her mucoid design. Now, originally I was not going to be making this minifigure just because it's like kind of a ridiculous one that only appeared for a couple of seconds, but then I made her leg, and I really liked the way her leg turned out, and I was like, okay, come on, I gotta make the rest of her in this design. It's too funny not to. So I puttied a couple of balls on top of her horns, and of course painted all that, as well as painted her hair and added on the sleeve. She's seriously so goofy, but a really cool minifigure nonetheless. Here's Kid Kai. Now this guy I just gave an accessory of the katana as well as Cooper's face from LEGO Dreams. And to go with Kid Kai, we have Kid Nya, of course, both from the flashback. As an accessory, I gave her departed lantern, which I think turned out really good, as well as this face, which of course is from this like elf collectible minifigure series with the freckles removed. Following Kid Nya, we have Jordana. Now, I knew Jordana had to appear somewhere in this minifigure series, and I was like, oh, perfect, Sorceress Jordana. Now, as the minifigure goes, she has red eyes, which of course she had while conducting the ceremony. She has, like, where the spell went into her chest, with some lightning crackling around it. I'm really excited to see where that goes in Season 2. As an accessory, I gave her some of these Power Blast pieces, which were originally orange but I painted red, as well as the spell, which of course, you know, she needs to conduct the ceremony, and her purple crystal ball on top of the, like, gray pedestal, which of course she uses to knock the ninja off the Destiny's Bounty. But yeah, on to the next minifigure. The next minifigure we have is Wolf Mask Disguised Sora. Now this minifigure has a lot going on, especially the accessory, but we'll take a look at the accessory in a minute. You can see the actual minifigure I just painted on like her new hair hat, I guess hair headphone combo. I painted on the pink of the ears as well as like that headband. I also did end up painting her eyes pink to match her hands, and then of course her accessory is the fist from Kai's like combo mech. I tried my best to make like a fist that kind of matched the same design style without being like massive, right? So that way it could fit in her hand. This is of course the fist that Aaron tried to give object spin jutsu but was not able to do it, so of course she made it spin using her tech powers. Just like Jordana, I knew Sora had to appear somewhere in this minifigure series, and I think this is the perfect minifigure for it. But yeah, on to the next one. Here we have the head writer from the Cloud Kingdom. This guy turned out really good in my opinion, and I think that's mostly due to that face, which is literally just so perfect. As an accessory, I gave him the book that of course he uses at the end of the season when talking about the Forbidden Five, as well as a quill for him to write in the book. Here we have Kid Raz. Now this one turned out really good if you ask me. His head mold was really difficult to do. Obviously you can see it's missing the goatee that the actual Raz has. I also did try and like shave down, or not shave down, but like paint over like his tattoos, as well as a little bit of like that silver on his eyes. I tried to like cover that up a little bit. I think it turned out pretty cool. His torso, of course, I did end up making on the computer, and then I gave him his little accessory of the ball, which he lost on the ravine. Here we have Intelligent George. Now this guy turned out so much better than I was expecting, and I think that is mostly because of that face. You can see this face matches pretty much spot on to what is seen in the show. I mean, in the show he's not smiling, but hey, it works really well. I also did give him a torso from Owen from Jurassic World, as well as this hat, which is painted black from red. I mean, if you're going to make a purist custom, I think red would work fine too. And then as accessory, I gave him a phone, as well as a Borg laptop, which I did take off of my Borg tower. For our second to last minifigure, we have Ninja Fan Infinity. Now this minifigure turned out really good, and I think that is mostly because of that hair hat combo. So this is actually like the legacy hood, like the headband, with the bottom shaved off, and then the rest of it just like puttied over to make it look like she has a ponytail. I'm really happy with the way this minifigure turned out, and on to our last minifigure. With our last minifigure, of course, being Fidulian. Now this is just my gripe minifigure with the armor switched out, and I think it works pretty well. As an accessory, I gave him the trick map that he ended up giving to Bonsel, Zane, and Cole. But yeah, alright, let's take a look at all of the minifigures together. Alright, here are all of the minifigures together. You can see I have my 4 favorites right up in the front. I still can't decide whether or not I like Bonsel better or Candaleria. I can't really decide. As you can see, here are all of the rest of them, all kind of lined up like an actual minifigure series. Let me guys know what minifigures I missed out on in the comments and which ones were your favorite. Thank you guys all so much for watching and have a wonderful day. Bye!